probably would have cornered me by now.
Why not? Good morning. Good morning. It's a gorgeous, beautiful day out there. So, welcome this beautiful, great morning to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Nothing About It. That's better. Where it's our mission to grow together in love, faith, justice, and joy. My name is Xiomara Rodriguez, and my pronouns are she, her, and ella. And I am very honored to be your worship associate today. And today we are meeting at the ancestral lands of the Paiute, Shoshone, and Washoe people, the original stewards of this land. I ask you to join me in acknowledging their heritage, their community, their elders, both past and present, as well as future generations. This acknowledgement demonstrates a commitment to beginning the process of working together for a better future. The Dalai Lama once said about interdependence. Interdependence is the fundamental law of nature. Even tiny insects survive by mutual cooperation based in intimate recognition of their interconnectedness. Big word. It is because our own human existence is so dependent on the help of others that our need for love lies at the very foundation of our existence. Therefore, we need a genuine sense of responsibility and sincere concern for the welfare of others. So with that in mind, let's welcome each other, no matter where we are today, if inside of the sanctuary or on the airways in Zoom. We welcome you regardless of your racial identity, your age, your economic circumstances, immigration status, sexual orientations, or gender ID. You are welcome here always. If by any chance this is the first time you are here, or your 150th time, we're so glad you're here. Don't forget to sign up, please, so we could know who you are and keep touch with you, and you could get our newsletter. So, no matter where you are today, please, let's enjoy today, and you're welcome. And like always, and we have announcements. Please use the QR code on the back of your order of service or the link in the weekly e-newsletter to fill out the leadership survey to help us understand what you need from our next minister. If you have any questions, talk to Nathan. UUA General Assembly is in June 18th through the 22nd. If you wish to be a delegate for UUFNN, please contact Carol Swarson at office@uufnn.org. There are flyers in the gathering room with more information. And we have JJ. JJ.
I identify as short. Greetings, JJ Lee here, pronouns she-ish, they-ish. The other day, whilst minding my own business, if you can imagine, I stopped being able to say the loud stuff quietly. I felt profoundly sad, angry, scared, lonely as a gay woman. Quite a lot of stuff is coming up for me. No kidding. Thanks to our country's new administration, but I know it's coming up to be healed. I'm intensely aware that other populations of marginalized people are suffering too. And I started to compare myself, my struggle, and I started to marginalize myself. They, fill in the blank, have reason to be more sad, angry, scared, lonely. Thankfully, hearing my inner self disqualifying voice snapped me back into reality. My mentor was available to chat, and she reminded me I have resources, the first among which she named as my faith community. She knows that for a reason. So I reached out to Nathan. Nathan provided me this time to make an announcement, so make an announcement. I finally will. Thank you for your patience. Being witnessed is part of the healing process for me. Anyway, I'm imagining that there are other LGBTQ plus folks among us, or that you know of in our community, who are suffering in some way akin to what I have just shared, or in other ways. So my ask is, would any LGBTQ plus folks here be interested in joining together on some quasi-regular basis for support, a support group? That's why they call it that. If so, I will be out in the lobby after service to collect names and contact info. Can't stay long because I have to take my puppy to the vet, but I will be out there. So we might form something to support each other. Anyway, thank you so much for listening. Hope to see my cultural kin in the lobby after service.
Thank you, JJ. Final announcement. The Casa Latina is having a presentation on Know Your Rights on April 13th, 2025, right after the service right here. We invite you all to please join us. It's not just only for the Latino immigrant community, but it's for all of us to know our rights when we are together with a non. Come on up.
I also identify as short, but I'm going to deal with it. All right, I'm just here for a quick reminder that this Friday, we are going to be having our social justice event, True False Hot Cold, Bridging Divides Through Community Dialogue. We will be having the director of the documentary, award-winning documentary, True False Hot Cold, visiting via Zoom. And the idea is to watch clips from the video and then have a community discussion about how beliefs are formed. The basis of the documentary is climate change, but the focus is really community dialogue and overcoming differences. Directly after the service, we'll be showing the trailer for this. If you haven't seen it in the announcements, it's been in there. It's a great little trailer. And so stick around if you want to watch that. Otherwise, if you want to chat, you can just chat, gather in the gathering room. Any questions? I have more postcards. Rosalind has postcards out in the front. And hope to see you there. Thank you.
The chalice, Nathan, could you do the honors, please? The chalice line today, we belong to each other by Reverend Gretchen Haley. We are keepers of hope, holders of memory, storytellers and song weavers, pulling on the threads of truth, this other march of history that might otherwise fail to find its footing. Being human means we are of this earth. Sweet home, teacup. Imagine our most possible future, that life is filled with kindness, bold beauty, courageous compassion, sacrifice for the common good, and a wide, willing embrace of neighbors and strangers as kin. We are here to do the work of hope, remembering the past, remembering ourselves for this life that titters too often on the edge of forgetting. We belong to each other. Bring all you are, every shadow and every light, every hope, every fear, every radiant hour. Come, let us hope for each other. Come, let us worship together. Now, how about if we take a few minutes to greet one another in whichever way is better for you? A hug, a wave, elbow, fist bump, whatever. However you feel is the better. And I will hit the singing bowl when it's time to get us back together. Let's go.
I'm really proud the practicing pays off. Good morning. My name is Nathan Bakken. I use they, them pronouns, and I am the Director of Congregational Life here at UUFNN. And before I jump into our call to worship, I just want to remind and illuminate folks, up here in the front is what I have learned is called a pray ground. Is a space in our worship service for young people and people young of heart to color and engage in activities as the service goes on. So I just want to remind folks that that's a resource in this community for young people. They can get up and move whenever they want to engage in whatever ways they need to move. Our theme for the month of April is interdependence. As Unitarian Universalists, we have a long-held principle that we are called to respect the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part. That principle, for many UUs, is a primary reason why they find home in this faith. That it's a faith of interconnection, of belonging, of not just being a part, we're not separate from the things around us, but we are integrally linked to the things around us, to the people around us, to the places, to the land. And when we as a faith shifted our language from principles to values last year, we got a richer, more fleshed out understanding of interdependence. We honor the interdependent web of all existence. With reverence for the great web of life and with humility, we acknowledge our place in it. We covenant to protect the earth and all beings from exploitation. We will create and nurture sustainable relationships of care and respect, mutuality and justice. We will work to repair harm and damaged relationships. That paragraph warrants a month of reflection. Because it not only says we as a royal, all-encompassing, it not only says we as a royal and all-encompassing we, but it says that we are not only connected and interdependent on the world around us and to each other, but as Unitarian Universalists, we have a responsibility to tend to that connection in ways that are creative and sustainable, rooted in mutuality and care, respect and justice, and challenges us to see that repair is a part of that interdependence. And so it is in a spirit of connection, a spirit of hard conversations, a spirit of repair and respect, creativity and mutuality, that I invite us all into our worship this morning. And so I want to invite you to rise in body and spirit. And as you can see, we have no choir, we have no pianist, because on the first Sunday of the month, we give our lovely musicians a break. And that means Nathan gets to go have fun on YouTube. And so I invite us to rise in body and spirit for our opening hymn, Crowded Table by the High Woman.
You can hold my hand when you need to let go. I can be a mountain when you're feeling valley low. I can be a street light showing you the way home. 'Cause you can hold my hand when you need to let go. Want a house with a crowded table and a place by the fire for everyone. Let us take on the world while we're young and able, and bring this back together when the day is done. If we want to guard it, we're gonna have to sow the seed, plant a little happiness, let the roots run deep. If it's love that we on the world while we're young and able, and bring us back together when the day is done, and bring us back together when the day is done.
Okay. The Conference of the Birds by Persian Sufi Muslim writer Faridun Attar. Once upon a time, all the birds in the land decided they needed a leader for their community. A leader they thought would make the community stronger. Representative of all the bird species gather to discuss finding a leader. A leader will tell us the right thing to do, said the robin. Our leader must be wise, said the owl. A leader must believe we each are important, big, small, said the sparrow. I want a leader to be caring, like a friend, said the dove. Yes, the leader help us share and get along better, said the jay. Leader must make us feel safe, said the hawk. I know where you could find such a leader, said the Hopi bird. It's a simur, and it lives far away from here. The birds were very excited. They said they would be willing to go anywhere to find such a leader. It might be dangerous, said the Hopi. A few birds looked trouble, but all the birds voted to go and find the Sumi. The Hopi took off, and all the birds followed. They flew at night. They flew in the sunshine. Days and days passed. Some birds got tired and left the group. Other birds were filled with doubt, but they still knew the Sumi really existed. Only the Hopi bird had heard of this bird. Some of the doubters dropped off and others kept flying. One valley was full of fiery mountains. All the birds were afraid. I'm too small to make it over the mountain, lamented the sparrow. No, keep flying. We can make it together. We will help you. And they did. The strong flyers helped the weaker flyers. The birds with good vision helped find food for the group. Along the journey, the birds learn how to better respect, share, and care for each other. It seemed that every bird had something special and unique to offer that made the journey easier. Finally, the Hopi announced, "We are here." The birds look around in anticipation. Where is the Sumu? We don't see it, they cried. Come. It's over here, said the Hopi. The birds stood beside the Hopi and realized they were at the edge of a lake. They looked in and saw their own reflection. Then they understood. The Sumu was not another bird. The Sumu was all of them, and all of them were the Sumu. They remembered that each of them had something good and strong and special inside of them, and that each bird had gifts to bring to the community. They were all that was needed to keep the community strong. They knew that together they could do anything.
They knew that together they could do anything. I want to invite us as we prepare to enter this time for meditation. Typically, Marilee accompanies behind me, and there's music ebbing and flowing. And we do have a moment of music to close out our meditation together. But as we come together and resettle ourselves for this moment to honor the joys and the sorrows of our congregation, I want to invite us to meet the silence as well. So I want to invite you to resettle into your chair. That might mean placing both feet on the ground. It might mean closing your eyes or softening your gaze or looking out the windows above me. I say each time I'm up here that we are a community that holds the world in both hands. And as we sit in this moment of silence, of the whirring of our HVAC machine, we lift up the joys, the sorrows, the gifts and concerns. We hold them alongside those asking to be held. We join Kathleen in that joyful celebration of the protests over the weekend that offered hope, that offered a response back to injustice, moments of solidarity. That Carson City had thousands of people in celebration and connection. Imagine the sounds of joyful protest in the silence. We come together as a community alongside Jackie, who's holding Reverend Karen Foster, whose mother passed away last weekend at 92 years old, living in Greenville, South Carolina. And we hold with the Foster family the grief that their dog also passed in the same week. Holding in the silence, not an absence of love, but a fullness of it. I invite you to breathe, holding the complexity of our world as we come alongside Lois Bianchi, who's lifting up in celebration Dave Bianchi, and a celebration of 61 years of marriage. It is a time to be alive in this world, a time of grief, a time of love, a time so like so many times that came before us, and a time that will be so much like times we have yet to experience. So to bring this moment of acknowledgement, of prayer to a close, I invite us to listen to this meditation song on breathing.
Breathe it in, let it out, breathe it in, let it go. Breathe it in, let it out, breathe it in, let it go. Breathe it in, let
Amen. Blessed be, and namaste. Before I jump into my sermon this morning, I want to invite us to just take a moment and stretch. Bring us back into our bodies after a moment of meditation. Wiggle in our seats a little bit. Take in the light. I feel spring is springing, and I have more dopamine in my system than I've had in a long time. The smorg was not another bird. The smorg was all of them, and all of them were the smorg. They remembered that each of them had something good and strong and special inside them, that each bird had gifts to bring to the community. They were all that was needed to keep the community strong. They knew now that together they could do anything. What a way to end a story. The truth that we have everything that we need. The truth that we are all connected and interdependent to something larger than ourselves called community. That could be the sermon right there, and I could go sit down. Makes my job a lot easier. But one of my favorite things about storytelling, one of my favorite things about why we have that moment of time for all ages where we read folk tales and children's books and stories is that when the story is finished, you can imagine what happens next. The birds had flown a long way to discover that they were all they really needed. So what happens when they return? When the flock of birds return to their home after this journey of self-discovery, how do they keep these truths alive? Especially when, and the story told us, some birds got tired and left the group. Other birds were filled with doubt, and some of them left. Did those birds also return home? When the self-actualized flock of the wisdom of interdependence returns home, what is the state of their relationships with the birds who didn't leave? What are those doubting and tired birds' thoughts about the wisdom of interdependent community when they themselves did not have the capacity to make the journey? Do you think they rejoiced upon returning with endless peace and happiness and love? Do you think there was a little resentment that the birds who didn't make the journey were going to benefit from the wisdom of interdependence? Will there be quiet grudges, rumors, unhelpful gossip about what happened on the journey? Will there be stories about how only the birds who had the privilege to leave can experience the wisdom of the journey? What about the birds with chicks in the nest, with mouths to feed? Or the birds who run on the ground rather than fly? For a story about finding community, it's not too hard to imagine that if you just scratch at the surface a little, the potential for conflict becomes big. And that is because conflict is a necessity of any community. The challenge of being in community is not to create a community with zero conflict, but to reflect and create ways of responding to conflict that don't push people out. And that feels real precarious in our current moment. Some of you are like, Nathan, I don't want to hear this sermon. And that's okay. As Unitarian Universalists, our tradition calls us to the work of response. We have a long history of activists, of responding to injustice, of fighting Nazis, of doing the work to speak the quiet things loudly, of being courageous and brave to speak truth to power. But all of that work involves conflict and interpersonal conflict. For every act of justice, there were 5 committee meetings about whether or not we should do it. And in our faith, the language of our values challenges us not only to say we will try our best, but that actually we promise that we will create and nurture sustainable relationships of care, respect, mutuality, and justice. We will work to repair harm and damaged relationships. That is a lot easier said than done. Conflict resolution on its own is hard. Conflict resolution at a time where none of us are at our best, where the world is stoking the fires of fear and mistrust, after being told the only practice for conflict resolution is to cancel, to cut out, and kick out. In our world, conflict resolution can feel near impossible. And yet, our faith shows up and says, we want you to promise to do it. That is not very fun. This might come as a shock to some of you. I had a career prior to working at UUFNN. At Boston University School of Theology, I earned a master's certificate in interfaith conflict mediation and conflict studies. Worked in the local BU community doing mediation circle processes for roommates who didn't get along or houses that couldn't figure out how to be in relationship with one another over a variety of factors. And what's even more interesting is that my journey with conflict mediation predates graduate school. It predates undergrad. It predates high school. When I was 9, I was a student at St. Anthony's Catholic School in Renton, Washington, and we were having a bit of a playground conflict crisis. Fights over playground equipment, who gets to play with who, excluding one another from games, fist fights over Pokemon cards, and who beat who at Yu-Gi-Oh! Were a daily occurrence of my elementary school life. And our guidance counselor developed a program that trains kids grades 4 through 8 to be peer mediators. If trips to the principal's office weren't doing the trick, maybe their friends will be a better tool. Like the birds of that story, we discovered we needed a community response rather than a top-down leadership one. And I was 9, and I was in the first class of those trained peer mediators. A 9-year-old trained to learn to speak in I statements, to regulate my emotions while actively listening to others, to encourage other people to actively listen and reflect back what they're hearing, to have a 9-year-old go and say, "So, John, you heard Sam say this. Can you reflect back your understanding of what Sam said?" And John goes, "What I heard was blah, blah, blah. Is that right?" And Sam goes, "No." I learned how to listen and reflect back what other people needed to be heard. And I also learned that rather than a punitive model that says, okay, you got in a fight, go to detention, people can come together in conflict, make agreements, listen to one another, and move forward in a way that has boundaries and understanding and actually prevents future conflicts because they learned the tools to settle it themselves. And our fights on the playgrounds went down. People stopped getting punched over Pokemon cards because people started listening to one another. Fast forward 15 years, and I'm at Boston University in my Introduction to the Art of Conflict Transformation, and the toolkit that is handed to me is the exact same toolkit I got when I was 9. The skills aren't that complicated, but they're hard to practice. And now I'm 32, I don't do formal conflict mediation work on a regular basis, but conflict resolution and the skills of repair are foundational to how I try to show up in the world. And they're not perfect. Many conflicts cannot be solved with a circle process, cannot be solved in I statements, cannot be solved on their own. That's the hardest part of conflict and repair. Sometimes you can't fix it. You can only resolve a conflict if all people want that conflict to resolve. That is a hard truth to swallow. No matter what you do, it won't end in repair. But I don't think that that is a fault of our call to repair. Actually, I think it is because we limit ourselves to metaphors of repair that only do the work of stitching and mending, of bringing pieces back together that are torn apart, that contact is the assumed way conflict is resolved. We are called to mend relationships. We are called to that work of repair, to stitch things back together, to solder when things have broken. We are told that repair should look like forgiveness, that repair should look like a reintegration into one's life, that you should go back to being best friends, that the harm can be forgotten, that that eventually we too will be a flock of interdependent birds who realize how to form a perfect beloved community and brush conflict away. When in reality, for many of us, our imaginations flare up when we hear the word conflict resolution because we immediately think of a conflict in our life we can't repair. When I say the phrase, we will work to repair harm and damaged relationships, and I know this is true for me, we all have a person, a situation, a community, often the worst thing we've ever experienced, and go, I am not repairing with that person. I am not doing that work. I don't want to be in the same room with them, let alone have them back in my life on a regular basis. That is called boundaries. That is called creating the space in which you can learn to love yourself and love another person who has hurt you. So how do we live out a call to repair if bringing things back together and hugging them so tight, hoping it goes back together, isn't going to work? How do we live out a call to repair while honoring the boundaries and the capacities that limit us? And not try to work over and say we need to go beyond our boundaries. No. The world is hard right now. We have to keep ourselves together in ways that are supportive. So I'm going to offer two things, and in true UU fashion, please email me, tell me I'm wrong. I welcome it. I want you to be honest with yourself. That's the first thing. When you hear that moment of we need to go into repairing relationships, stop yourself and say, do I actually have the capacity to do that right now? And if the answer is no, don't force it. Trying to force forgiveness, trying to force repair, I don't know how many times, what's a piece of paper I can rip up? I can hold this together like this for as long as I want, but if I do not go out and take the tools to find the tape, to find the glue, to stick it back together, or have the time to pick up all the pieces, figure out where they need to go, before I can even have a conversation with a person, I need to slow down and pay attention of what I need and what I can do. I can tell you, I am not going to glue this piece of paper back together because I don't have the time or the capacity to do it. So be honest. And if the answer is yes, I do find meaning in this relationship. I do find meaning in this connection with this person, and I want and have that earnest desire and capacity to do repair, then you get to ask the other person, hey, I want to repair this. Do you have the capacity or the desire to do repair? And if they come back to you with no, grieve. Accept it. And that's hard. Time is long and people change, and that no could become a yes one day. But their no is a no. And if their no is a yes, time is also on your side, because those conversations are going to take long, hard, and probably require an unbiased mediator to hold the room like I did as a 9-year-old and say, can you, before you share, reflect back what so-and-so was saying? Do you hear what they're saying? Repair work is not comfortable, it's not fun. Actually, sometimes it is fun, but it takes time, and it is often a longer time process than we want to admit. So that's the first thing, honesty. Where am I? Can I do it? Do I have the time? And if my answer is no, how do I honor it? And if the answer is yes, how do I ask that other person if they have the space and time to do it? And if they have the capacity or the boundaries? The second, and I blame this on me being a poet, is I think we need broader and more expansive metaphors for repair. Not everything can be mended. The song that we open the space with, everyone's a little broken, but we all belong. Metaphors of mending, of stitching, of gluing, of piecing back together are helpful and at times accurate to what you need to do. Some conflicts can actually be mended. But those metaphors are not universal. What comes up for you when I invite you to say, if we think about tending a garden as repair? Well, when I think about the garden I was tending yesterday, the pruning, the weeding, the uprooting, sometimes the boundaries and our capacities are tools to teach us what type of repair we need to do. I have a plum tree in my backyard that loves to have auxiliary shoots sprout out from its roots, which means every spring I have to go in and cut down all these auxiliary sprouts, because if the plum tree has too many sprouts, it won't produce fruit. And I don't want 4 plum trees in my backyard. I'm not cutting down the tree, but I am cutting back the space it takes up in my life. And from that work of boundaries, of saying, no, plum tree, you can't grow over here, I get fruit, and if the squirrels and the birds are nice enough, I might get to eat some. The metaphors we use to imagine repair matter in each context. Gardening is not a perfect metaphor. There are metaphors probably coming up for you that I haven't even imagined. But what's important is thinking about, how do we show up to a moment of conflict? And if we ask ourselves that question, do I want to repair this? And if the answer is yes, the question is, okay, how? Do they also want to do it? If they say yes, great. Okay, now our next question is how? Is it a mending? Is it a stitching? Is it a quilting? Is it we have a hole in our shirts and we fill up that hole, we patch it, and it's more beautiful? Is it that Japanese pottery work where the pot shatters and it's gilded? Or is it a plum tree that I want in my backyard, but I know I need to have a relationship to it to make sure that both of us are benefiting in a way that's gonna offer fruit and sustenance? I am a practitioner and a believer of transformative justice, which means at my core, no person is disposable. that all people have the capacity to change, and that my freedom and liberation is bound to the freedom and liberation of every person in this room. The work of repair challenges me to put those beliefs into action with boundaries, in alignment with my capacity in the present moment. It is often hard to do this work of repair in a scary world that aims to solidify the false binary of us and them, to disrupt the we. Everybody deserves to be free in this world. Every once in a while when you're writing sermons you preached years ago come back to your brain and you're like, oh, thank you, Past Nathan. A couple years ago for 4th of July, I preached on the difference between freedom and independence using etymology. And I'm not gonna do an entire new sermon. But freedom comes from an Indo-European word rooted in love. Freedom comes from love. And that means everybody being free does not mean we are free to hurt people, to cause harm and refuse accountability, to believe that repair is not possible, even if that repair looks like, I can't talk to you right now. And checking in with yourself for maybe a day where you can. And maybe that day never comes, and that's a grief. And it's okay to grieve. In this interdependent web of all existence, we are called to tend and repair the web so that everybody, every being, including our planet, can be free. That is a lot of work, and it's hard. It's also beautiful and joyful and painful and all the things, which is exactly what an interdependent web of all existence should be. It is not a utopia, it's a reality. And in that reality, there is a blessing of community, a blessing of people in our lives who you can look back and say, I did have a conflict with them and we did repair it. If the takeaway of this sermon is, oh no, Nathan, you made conflict sound really impossible. I'm like, no, we all have experiences where we have made amends, where we have repaired something that broke. And we all have experiences of grieving the things that we couldn't. One is not better than the other. In that call to repair and transform this world of our faith, repair without boundaries, without being in our capacity, is only going to do harm. So if anything I want you to take away, Nathan told me I could be human today and move at the pace of trust, move at the pace of belonging, engage with conflict in ways that hopefully work towards repair, and if I can't repair it, I can grieve it. And that is a blessing, y'all. Amen, and blessed be, and namaste.
It isn't right for too many falling. They say it's in the name of the great good. Oh, we lost sight. World is getting colder. What happened to the words with which we once stood? I will stand for you. Would you stand for me? Everybody deserves to be free. I would lend a hand to you. Would you lend a hand to me? Everybody deserves to be free. It's close to 9, but I leave a candle burning. Your way home won't give up the fight. Story isn't over, no. I won't let you walk on alone. I will stand for you. stand with me. Hurt like I do, stand with me. Feel like I do, stand with me. If you hurt like I do, stand with me. Yeah. Think it's a shame if it gives you the blues. Oh, I'm telling you, I will stand for you. Would you stand for me? Everybody deserves to be free. And I would lend a hand to you. Would you lend a hand to me? Everybody deserves to be free. I will stand for you. Would you stand for me? Everybody deserves to be free. Hands to you. Would you hands to me? Said everybody deserves to be free. Everybody deserves to be free. Everybody deserves to be free. Yeah. Oh, yes.
Hello. Take this off. Takes a lot to move. Okay. My pronouns are she and her. This is a great song to follow from. Really does. Connects. I'm here to talk about pledges. Many of you know that I lived in Italy for 15 years. Well, it's all fun and games to live in Italy until you arrive home and fall off a highway 1 and go down the cliff 800 feet, which is what happened to me. Had a bad car accident, and my life changed. The anniversary actually was last Monday, 25 years ago it happened. So, it's all fun and games to live in Italy until that happens, and you have not put any money into Social Security. Hello. That means when you fall off the cliff, your disability is not really that much. And that's what I've been living on for 25 years. But you make it work. You know, and many of you, some of you know, when you are at the low, you have to make it work. But one thing that I have made sure is to put $10 a week into UUFNN. It's $40 a month. That's almost $500 a year. I mean, coffees cost more than that. We've got to get together. I mean, my friends are here in this room from this fellowship. That's where my family is. Baby, we are family. We gotta do this. We gotta do it together. $10. Come on, we can do it. We are family. All of us are family. So let's do it. That's my piece.
Go, come on. You want to dance with me
No, darling, I'm not dancing. I dance, I fold.
I love you, Pat. As we approach the time for our offering, give what you will for the church that has meant so much to you, for the church that has meant so much to those who come before you, for the church that will mean so much for the people you will never know. Give what you will, for you are a generous people. For those here physically, the basket will be passed. For those of you on Zoom, there is a slide that will tell you how to go about donating online. Here at UUFNN each month, we also give folks the opportunity to share our generosity by sharing with a designated nonprofit organization. The Share the Plate recipient for the month of April is the Northern Nevada International Center, and their board president, my friend Allison Golden, will come and tell us a little bit about the organization.
Hello, and thank you for having me. My name is Allison Golden. Hello, there's faces I've seen. I should come here more often, really. Sorry, I don't. Usually my church is in the garden, so I'm forfeiting that for you today. But my day job is I'm faculty at the University of Nevada, Reno for the journalism school. I teach PR and advertising. I left Planned Parenthood thinking that's a really controversial organization, so I'll go to journalism. I think it follows me, just saying. In my spare time, I'm the board chair of Northern Nevada International Center, an organization I've been involved with since 2004. We're an organization that likes to, we are the international hub for Nevada. We have been around for 26 years. We're about to celebrate our 25th annual gala, which is this month. And we do three things. The thing we do the most of is international cultural exchanges. We bring people from all over the world. We let them meet Nevadans and let Nevadans meet them so that we all know community happens when you know each other and you don't fear other. And that's the whole point. I've had the opportunity to go to Kyrgyzstan and talk to women about being involved in politics and organizing and running for office. And 3 years ago now, I went to Zimbabwe and taught young Africans how to run for office based on my experiences working for Planned Parenthood. So we do more than 30 international cultural exchanges. They're all funded by the State Department. That's under some insecurity right now because there's some approaches that I wouldn't necessarily agree with at all. And in 2016, we started resettling refugees. Only 1% of the world's refugees are resettled. There are billions of people who are displaced, fearing their government, fearing their faith, fearing for their lives. They've been trafficked, they've been tortured, they come here for a better life. We've resettled 1,100 individuals since 2016, the most were last year. The commitment to them comes from the State Department. It was a 5-year commitment that we'd get them here within 90 days. They are the person in the family who can work. Some cultures don't let all of the people in the family work, but they're employed, they have housing, their kids are in school, they start learning English, and we have programs to help them assimilate it on what it means to be Americans. We had on January 30th, we had 100 people arrive, and the deal was cut off. They know we are no longer able to help them from federal funding, but we are morally committed to these folks, so we're finding ways of putting funds to keep them here and help them assimilate because they fled for good reason. And then the third thing that we do is language access. We have several interpreters who will do more than 200 languages in translation and interpretation. We can even talk Swahili if you know how to do that. I don't do it. I barely know how to talk English anymore. But those are the three legs that we do: international cultural exchanges, refugee resettlement, which we're still committed to regardless of the administration, and language access. So any support that you do, we greatly appreciate. Thank you.
Thank you for your generosity, and now let the offering begin.
Though below me I feel no motion, standing on these mountains and plains, far away from the rolling ocean, still my dry land heart can say, I've been sailing all my life now, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home. Sun, my sail, and moon, my rudder, as I ply the starry sea, leaning over the edge in wonder, casting questions in.
And now could you all help Nancy and I bless our offerings to the work of this fellowship, which is in love, faith, justice, and joy. We dedicate ourselves, and these are offerings.
As we bring our sacred time together to a close, and before I extinguish the chalice, I'm going to ask Philip one thing. Philip Moore, for the closing hymn, can we swap the anthem and just play that again? Thank you. I was like, it's a better closing hymn. I was like, oh, I messed up the order. We gather in community of interdependence, care, with our hearts set towards justice and repair. The light of our chalice grounds us each Sunday. But we know, just as our fire this morning will be extinguished, the light and wisdom that it represents is carried in the lights of our hearts. So I invite you to please rise in body or spirit for our closing hymn, Everybody Deserves to Be Free. And if you feel called to clap, I invite you to clap.
It isn't right for too many falling. They say it's in the name of the greater good. Oh, we we lost sight. World is getting colder. What happened to the words for which we once stood? I will stand for you. Would you stand for me? Everybody deserves to be free. I would lend a hand to you. Would you lend a hand to me? Everybody deserves to be free. It's close to 9, but I'll leave a candle burning to light your way home. Won't give up the fight. Story isn't over, no. I won't let you walk all alone. I will stand for you. Would you stand for me? Everybody deserves to be free. I would lend a hand to you. Would you lend a hand to me? Everybody deserves to be free. Say, if you feel like I do, stand with me. If you hurt like I do, stand with me. If you feel like I do, stand with me. If you hurt like I do, stand with me. Yeah. If you think it's a shame, if it gives you the blues, oh, I'm telling you, I will stand for you. Would you stand for me? Everybody deserves to be free. And I would lend a hand to you. Would you lend a hand to me? Everybody deserves to be free. I will stand for you. Would you stand for me? Everybody deserves to be free. Hands to you. Would you lend a hand for me? Said everybody deserves to be free. And everybody deserves to be free. And everybody deserves to be free. Yeah. Oh, yes.
Please stay standing in body or spirit for our benedictions. And if you feel called, I invite you to hold the hands of those around you. And if you'd prefer not, I invite you to softly place your hands over your heart. We are a community called to the work of repair. To repair a broken world, a broken society, and in that work of repair, do so in such a way that everybody is free. Our worship has ended, but our service is just beginning. Amen, blessed be, and namaste. Thank you all.
Forward. Keep on moving forward. Keep on moving forward. Never turning back. Never turning back. Gonna keep on moving proudly. Keep on moving. Gonna keep on singing loudly. Keep on singing loudly. Keep on singing loudly. Never turning back. Never turning back. Gonna keep on loving boldly. Keep on loving boldly. Keep on loving boldly. Never turning back. Never turning back. Gonna reach across our borders. Reach across our